Hey guys, we're finally back to doing videos, and today we're talking about the legislative branch of the federal government. First of all, the three powers of government, legislative, executive, and judicial, are distributed among three distinct and independent branches of government. This goes back to when we had a all-powerful executive branch in the king, and we didn't want that in our new government, so we made sure to split the powers. So now you have the legislative branch that makes the laws, the executive branch that executes or carries out the laws, and the judicial branch that interprets the laws. The primary function, since we're focusing on the legislative branch today, the primary function of the legislative branch is to make the laws of our country. The legislative branch is often referred to as Congress, and this has nothing to do with the name, but Congress or the legislative branch is divided into two houses, which means it's bicameral. Just like a bicycle has two wheels, a bicameral legislature has two houses because of that prefix bi meaning two. Those two houses are the Senate and the House of Representatives. This picture is in your notes, showing you kind of how they're split up. So first off, the Senate is considered to be the upper or more prestigious house of Congress. There are 100 members, and the membership is 2 per state, meaning that representation in the Senate is based on equality. Every state has equal representation. On the other hand, you have the House of Representatives. This is considered to be the lower house of Congress. There are 435 total members, and each state sends a different amount of representatives. And representation in the House is based on the population of the state. So, for example, Virginia, with our population, we have 11 members in the House of Representatives. Okay? We have 11 members out of 435 because of our population as a percentage of the whole population. Each state sends a different amount. Some states, like Montana or Alaska, only send one person to the House of Representatives. So let's talk about the powers of Congress. First of all, they have expressed powers. These are powers given specifically to Congress from the Constitution. Implied powers are powers not given to Congress directly, but it's assumed that they have that power. And keep in mind, implied means suggested but not directly expressed. All right? The difference here would be, for example, in the Constitution, it specifically states that the government has the power to establish an army and a navy. But we have an air force. Well, in 1787, when the Constitution went into effect, there was no such thing as an airplane. The idea of people flying was ridiculous. But when the Wright brothers invented the airplane and we started to move forward technologically that way, World War I happened and people were using planes to fight each other. And once people started using planes to fight each other, it was implied that since Congress, or since the government has to protect us as U.S. citizens, if other countries are using an air force, we should have an air force as well. It's not expressed in the Constitution, but it's implied that they would be able to do that because of their directive to provide for our defense. All right? So express powers are powers given specifically to Congress from the Constitution, such as establishing an army or a navy. Implied powers are not in the Constitution, but it's assumed that Congress has those powers, such as establishing an air force. Some of the powers of Congress include making the laws for the nation. On your notes, all you have to write is laws. Approving the annual or yearly budget. You're writing annual budget or yearly budget. It doesn't matter which one you choose as long as you keep in mind that annual means every year. They confirm presidential appointments. All right, we're not talking about they look at the president's agenda and decides if he's allowed to go to that meeting or not. What we mean is the president's going to appoint people or nominate people for certain jobs, and it's up to the Congress to confirm those people or not confirm those people based on their qualifications, based on whether or not they're actually qualified to hold the job, or if they think the person will do damaging things to the country in that job. Congress also has the power to raise revenue through taxes and other levies. All you have to write is revenue and taxes on your lines. They also regulate interstate and foreign trade. They make sure that we are supplied with what we need and that we are sending out stuff that provides benefits to the United States economically or in other ways. All right, and they regulate the trade both between the states and between our country and other countries. Meaning, like, if we're trading with Great Britain, Congress has some kind of oversight over that. Last, they are the ones who declare war. All right, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, but that does not mean the president gets to use the military whenever he feels. Congress is the ones that grant the president the power to use the military in a time of war. The president can't just declare war on his own. I will see you next time when we talk about how a bill becomes a law.